Topic: Training methods. Subtopics: Types of training methods. Traditional and modern methods. On-the-job training methods and off-the-job training methods, meaning and in nature. Types of training methods. Staff training methods come in all shapes and sizes, and the variety keeps growing bigger with each passing year. This means that every team, department, and company can choose the best training methods for their particular needs. So, what's on the training menu? Let's take a look at the different types of training methods available today. First, traditional training methods. Traditional approaches to training still offer a number of benefits and are commonly found in many companies today. Here is a list of training methods from the traditional category that should be considered when choosing the best training techniques for employees in your company. 1. Classroom-based training programs. Usually led by a qualified facilitator, classroom learning takes place over one or more days in a physical venue on or off-site. Groups of employees go through a series of presentation slides and activities, like case study assessments or information on company policy issues. The advantage of classroom-based training is that a group of employees can attain large amounts of knowledge at the same time. Unfortunately, the disadvantages are many. Hired venues, travel, and catering make this training method costly. Employees also find this approach to training boring. 2. Interactive training. One of the most effective training methods in the workplace, interactive training actively involves learners in their own learning experience. This training can take the form of simulations, scenarios, role-plays, quizzes, or games. By practicing their new skills and applying them in realistic work scenarios, learners are not only more engaged but more likely to retain what they've learned too. However, it can be time-consuming when done in person, especially when learners require regular feedback from a content expert. 3. On-the-job training. With on-the-job training, not only are employees actively involved in learning, but they also participate in real activities that relate to their current or future job. This is one of the most effective training methods for succession planning. This type of training can result in rapid learning because employees are thrown into the proverbial deep end. This experience can be a little too stressful for some employees, let alone time-consuming, because of the frequent input required. Second, modern training methods. In the modern workplace that consists of remote employees and diverse cultures, training methods for employees have changed. So, how do we approach learning in such a complex workplace? The answer lies in two words: social and online. 1. Social learning. Originating from Albert Bandura's work in the 70s. 2. Social learning is commonly defined as learning from others by observing, imitating, and modeling their behavior. Social learning can be a very intentional workplace training method too. Social learning isn't found in many of the common training methods, mostly because it's not as easy to structure, measure and control. Yet it can be very effective because employees are pushed beyond the boundaries of their daily roles, acquiring new perspectives and problem-solving skills. 2. Online training. E-learning, or online training, has become one of the most widely recognized solutions to the challenge of how to train employees effectively. Online workplace training programs can include e-learning courses, webinars, videos, etc., and allow information to be presented and tested in many different ways. The variety that online training offers means that employees can learn according to their style and immediate needs. It also means they can learn on the go. The downside: little more than the initial development costs and service fees of a reliable learning management system (LMS). How to choose the right workplace training methods. While it might seem fantastic to have so many options available, choosing the right training methods for employees is an important decision. It doesn't matter how much money you invest in training if it's the wrong training. After all, even an expensive square peg won't fit into a round hole. Here are 3 questions to identify the most effective employee training methods for your training program. First, what is the purpose of the training program? The first step is always to define the objectives of the training program, because certain training methods for employees are better suited for each one. For example, a classroom-based training session might be effective for delivering information about company-employee relations policies. However, this same method won't be effective in educating managers on how to deal with misconduct in the workplace. Role plays and scenarios would be better suited in this case. When new or existing skills need to be developed, interactive training and e-learning are often most effective. When these skills are soft skills, like problem solving, rather than technical skills. Social learning techniques can also be successful when planning for succession or looking to shape specific workplace behaviors. On-the-job training methods like coaching are effective. New knowledge, for example, about the causes of employee burnout, can be acquired through simple training techniques like reading, written notes, infographics, or even a seminar. Using online videos and webinars has the added advantage of making this learning convenient for the employee. Second, who is the intended audience? Renowned marketing guru Chris Brogan says that we should always make the buyer the hero. And this principle has just as much relevance in learning as it does in marketing. Training is most effective when the target audience understands and believes in the benefits of the training program. So, the most effective training methods make the learner the hero. Factors to consider here include demographics, nature of the job, level of seniority, and whether or not learning will take place in a group or per individual. Let's unpack these considerations. 1. Demographics. Employees who fall into older generational categories might be more comfortable with traditional training methods than e-learning courses. Similarly, millennials would likely be more invested in learning if it occurred on the devices they use throughout the day. Social learning methods would be more effective in cultures where shared values and community are prioritized over individual goals or competition. Online training is most effective when employees are geographically dispersed. 2. Nature of the job. Jobs that require frequent travel typically benefit from the convenience of online training methods. Similarly, jobs where knowledge might need to be acquired quickly would benefit from bite-sized and accessible chunks of knowledge on an LMS. For example, a customer support officer might need to learn how to resolve a customer's technical issue while they are still on the phone. When jobs are relatively simple, they often require basic knowledge and skills that can be learned with little practice. However, the best training techniques for employees with complex technical jobs are those that require active participation, like interactive training methods. 3. Level of seniority. Senior roles often share a few similar characteristics. These employees require soft skills like leadership and emotional intelligence. They are also busy, and their learning and development goals are unique. This means that they might require a combination of training methods in order to meet their learning objectives. Online training provides them with the convenience of accessing their training when and where they prefer. It also enables them to select modules of content that are most relevant to them. However, seminars and leadership conferences can also provide positive opportunities for social learning and the acquisition of new knowledge related to industry trends. 4. Individual versus group learning. When only one or two employees share the same learning objective, training methods like assignments or coaching can be effective. However, when many employees must acquire the same knowledge or skills, classroom-based training sessions, social learning techniques, and e-learning can be more effective and efficient. For example, an IT team that needs to learn about phishing could attend a live webinar or complete an e-learning course in their own time. Third, what are the constraints? Training is rarely, if ever, free. It requires an investment of money, time, and other resources. Even coaching, for example, takes valuable time away from an experienced and often senior employee in order to promote another employee's education. When time is scarce, stick to training methods that are quick and convenient. A one-day classroom-based workshop might do the job. Or, if employees are not based in the same workspace and the company already has an LMS up and running, consider making the learning materials available online. When the budget is tight, the best training methods tend to be those that leverage the knowledge and experience of existing employees and avoid the need for an external subject matter expert or facilitator. Techniques like coaching, assignments, job rotation, and internally hosted webinars can be cost-effective. E-learning courses that make use of curated information, like existing online videos, infographics, and articles can also work. How to keep track of training for employees for businesses small to large. These days, the best way to keep track of training for employees is with a learning management system, LMS. A high-quality LMS does exactly what it sounds like. It manages the implementation schedule of employee training and keeps track of engagement, results, and completion dates. Sure, you could use an Excel spreadsheet, emails, or the honor system. But if your company has more than a handful of employees, this gets messy and fast. Even the smallest companies can benefit from taking the time to select and implement better methods for measuring employee training. When it comes to LMS options that track employee training most effectively, take these steps to find the best fit for your company. First, get everyone on board and give them what they need. Executives, HR, and other key stakeholders all need to be on board with adopting a new employee training tracker. And they need tools to understand their options. If you are in charge of selecting a new LMS for your company, get everyone on board by explaining the importance of tracking employee training in terms of reducing turnover, lowering costs, and staying in compliance with all rules and regulations governing your industry. Once everyone understands the benefits in terms of time, money, and legal operations, proceed to step 2. Second, focus on what you actually need, not all of the bells and whistles. What exactly are you looking for in an LMS? If your construction company needs to track changes in compliance and regulations, can your LMS do that? Healthcare providers need to maintain their licenses with ongoing professional learning and maybe every complete recertification. If your LMS for your clinical practice can't track that, it's not the right one for you. Likewise, some LMS options come with additional reporting and analytics add-ons that you simply may never need now or in the future. They may look fancy, but ensure these add-ons are worth the additional price. Third, find a learning management system that meets those needs. If you are implementing a company-wide quarterly training that all employees are required to undergo, maybe what you need is an LMS that simply tracks course completions. Or perhaps your large healthcare company needs to make sure all medical professionals have up-to-date certifications or the training they need, plus a thorough understanding of HIPAA compliance. If your LMS cannot track certifications, this will be challenging at every level. Most executive teams also want a bird's-eye view of employee performance and activity that can be quickly compiled and distributed for employee reviews or evaluations. See if your options handle that. Whatever you need, make sure your LMS has it, offers excellent technical and customer support, and is compatible with your already existing technology. Or, if your technology is out of date, it's good to know what changes you will need to make to update and expand to accommodate the new system, and if your company is ready to make those changes. The number one reason people seek a new LMS is to ensure compliance, but hard on the heels of that is the ability to integrate your already existing learning programs onto an easy-to-use platform. Identify your primary goal, then proceed to step 4. Fourth, find an LMS that can grow with you. Focus on exactly what you need, but keep a weather eye on the horizon. Maybe your dental practice has 10 hygienists and 2 dentists, but has big plans to quadruple in size over the next few years. You may never need certain features, but you want an employee training tracker that is scalable, no matter your goals. Fifth, create a process to review the reports your LMS generates. You add employee data and think you're done. But an LMS can generate incredibly detailed reports on not only course completions and certifications but also the following: training completion and dates, assessment results, employee satisfaction with the training, facilitator evaluations, time logged in training modules. A quality LMS can offer insight into how your employees feel about the training itself and the people who facilitate it. This can help you develop more useful, engaging trainings to keep employees happy and reduce training friction. Create an ongoing process to review these insights to improve your training over time. On-the-job trainings, OJT. When an employee learns the job in actual working site in real-life situation, and not simulated environment, it is called on-the-job training and also called as workplace training. Employee learns while working. Take the instance of roadside mechanics. Small boys working there as helpers learn while helping the head mechanic. They do not learn the defect analysis and engine repairing skills in any classroom on engine models. This type of training, also known as job instruction training, is the most commonly used method. Under this method, the individual is placed on a regular job and taught the skills necessary to perform that job. The trainee learns under the supervision and guidance of a qualified worker or instructor. On-the-job training has the advantage of giving first-hand knowledge and experience under actual working conditions. While the trainee learns how to perform a job, he is also a regular worker rendering the services for which he is paid. The problem of transfer of trainee is also minimized as the person learns on the job. The emphasis is placed on rendering services in the most effective manner rather than learning how to perform the job. On-the-job training methods include job rotation, coaching, job instruction or training through step-by-step and committee assignments. Mostly on-the-job training for new employees is followed by an induction program which is meant for making new employees aware of organization's culture, policies, procedures and for interaction of new employees with each other. In India, at NTPC, National Thermal Power Corporation is offering employee induction program for its new employees and latest center on the job training. Boston Consulting Group's BCG India office is also giving on-the-job training with live case study for 1 to 3 months for its new employees. On-the-job training methods. First, job rotation. This type of training involves the movement of the trainee from one job to another. The trainee receives job knowledge and gains experience from his supervisor or trainer in each of the different job assignments. Though this method of training is common in training managers for general management positions, trainees can also be rotated from job to job in workshop jobs. This method gives an opportunity to the trainee to understand the problems of employees on other jobs and respect them. Job rotation method has been using in the Indian banking sector mainly by State Bank Group for the probationary officers for the period of approximately 2 years to finally post them as assistant bank manager. Under this method of training, candidates are placed in each and every job starts from clerical job, assistant, cashier and managerial job for the purpose of knowing importance in nature of every job before handling asked bank manager position. Second, coaching. The trainee is placed under a particular supervisor who functions as a coach in training the individual. The supervisor provides feedback to the trainee on his performance and offers him some suggestions for improvement. Often the trainee shares some of the duties and responsibilities of the coach and relieves him of his burden. A limitation of this method of training is that the trainee may not have the freedom or opportunity to express his own ideas. Third, job instruction. This method is also known as training through step-by-step. Under this method, trainer explains the trainee the way of doing the job knowledge and skills and allows him to do the job. The trainer appraises the performance of the trainee, provides feedback information and corrects the trainee. Fourth, committee assignments. Under the committee assignment, a group of trainees are given and asked to solve an actual organizational problem. The trainees solve the problem jointly. It develops teamwork. Fifth, apprenticeship. Apprenticeship is a formalized method of training curriculum program that combines classroom education with on-the-job work under close supervision. The training curriculum is planned in advance and conducted in careful steps from day to day. Most trade apprenticeship programs have a duration of 3 to 4 years before an apprentice is considered completely accomplished in their trade or profession. This method is appropriate for training in crafts, trades and technical areas, especially when proficiency in a job is the result of a relatively long training or apprenticeship period, e.g. job of a craftsman, a machinist, a printer, a tool maker, a pattern designer, a mechanic, etc. 6. Internship. Internship is one of the on-the-job training methods. Individuals entering industry and skilled trades like machinist, electrician and laboratory technician are provided with thorough instruction, both theoretical and practical aspects. For example, Tisco, Talco and Bell select the candidates from polytechnics, engineering colleges and management institutions and provide apprenticeship training. Apprenticeship training programs are jointly sponsored by colleges, universities and industrial organizations to provide the opportunity to the students to gain real-life experience as well as employment. Exhibit presents the benefits of apprenticeship training. Off-the-job training methods. Off-the-job training is conducted in a location specifically designated for training. It may be near the workplace or away from work. at a special training center or a resort. Conducting the training away from the workplace minimizes distractions and allows trainees to devote their full attention to the material being taught. However, off-the-job training programs may not provide as much transfer of training to the actual job as do on-the-job programs. Many people equate off-the-job training with the lecture method, but in fact a very wide variety of methods can be used. Definitions: employee training at a site away from the actual work environment. It often utilizes lectures, case studies, role-playing, simulation, etc. Off-the-job training methods. First, classroom lectures. Under the off-the-job methods of training, classroom method or lecture method is well known to train white-collar or managerial-level employees in the organization. Under this method, employees are called to the room like that of classroom to give training by trainer in the form of lectures. This method is effectively used for the purpose of teaching administrative aspects or on management subjects, to make aware of procedures and to give instructions on particular topics. Second, audiovisual, providing training by way of using films, televisions, video, and presentations, etc. This method of training has been using successfully in education institutions to train their students in subjects to understand and assimilate easily and help them to remember forever. New companies have come up for providing audiovisual material for students in their concerned subjects. In the corporate sector, mainly in customer care centers, employers are giving training to their employees by using audiovisuals material to teach how to receive, talk, and behavior with the customer. Third, simulation. The simulation method of training is most famous and core among all of the job training methods. In the simulation training method, trainee will be trained on the especially designed equipment or machine seems to be really used in the field or job. But those equipment or machines are specifically designed for training a trainees were making them ready to handle them in the real field or job. This method of planning is mostly used where very expensive machinery or equipment used for performing job or to handle that job. Example, the simulation method has been using widely for the purpose of training aeroplane pilots on aeroplane simulator to make them ready to handle and fly aeroplane. Especially in Air Force, fighter pilots are getting trained on the jet fighter simulator, because the cost of aeroplane or jet fighter will be very expensive. Hence, employer may not allow directly to get trained on real equipment to avoid damage to equipment or machine, or in sometimes may cause loss of trainee life. To avoid all such risks by the employer, giving training on simulator is safe. Normally, simulators for the purpose of training would be provided by the manufacturer of original equipment. Fourth, vestibule training. Mostly this method of training will be used to train technical staff, office staff, and employees who deal with tools and machines. Employees learn their jobs on the equipment they will be using, but the training is conducted away from the actual work floor by bringing equipment or tools to certain place where training is provided but not workplace. Vestibule training allows employees to get a full feel for doing tasks without real-world pressures. Additionally, it minimizes the problem of transferring learning to the job. Vestibule training is provided to employees when new or advanced equipment or tools introduced into the organization to do a particular job by using them. For this purpose, such equipment is brought to a separate place to give demonstration and train how to use and that handle it by employees safely. Fifth, case studies. It is a written description of an actual situation in the past in same organization or somewhere else, and trainees are supposed to analyze and give their conclusions in writing. This is another excellent method to ensure full and wholehearted participation of employees and generates good interest among them. Case is later discussed by instructor with all the pros and cons of each option. It is an ideal method to promote decision-making abilities within the constraints of limited data. 6. Role-playing. During a role-play, the trainees assume roles and act out situations connected to the learning concepts. It is good for customer service and training. This method is also called role reversal, sociodrama, or psychodrama. Here trainees act out a given role as they would in a stage play. 2 or more trainees are assigned roles in a given situation, which is explained to the group. There are no written lines to be said and, naturally, no rehearsals. The role players have to quickly respond to the situation that is ever-changing and to react to it as they would in the real one. It is a method of human interaction which involves realistic behavior in an imaginary or hypothetical situation. Role-playing primarily involves employee-employer relationships, hiring, firing, discussing a grievance problem, conducting a post-appraisal interview, disciplining a subordinate, or a salesman making presentation to a customer. 7. Programmed instructions. This involves 2 essential elements: a step-by-step series of bits of knowledge, each building upon what has gone before, and b. a mechanism for presenting the series and checking on the trainee's knowledge. Questions are asked in proper sequence and indication given promptly whether the answers are correct. This program may be carried out with a book, a manual, or a teaching machine. It is primarily used for teaching factual knowledge such as mathematics, physics, etc. 8. Management games. With computerized management games, trainees divide into 5 or 6-person groups, each of which competes with the others in a simulated marketplace. Each group typically must decide, for example, how much to spend on advertising, how much to produce, how much inventory to maintain, how many of which product to produce. Usually, the game itself compresses a 2 or 3 year period into days, weeks, or months, as in the real world. Each company team usually can't see what decisions, such as to boost advertising, the other firms have made, although these decisions do affect their own sales. Management games can be effective. People learn best by being involved, and the games can gain such involvement. They help trainees develop their problem-solving skills, as well as to focus attention on planning rather than just putting out fires. The groups also usually elect their own officers and organize themselves. This can develop leadership skills and foster cooperation and teamwork.